Let's be honest. If you've served in worship ministry for any amount of time, you may have experienced a little bit of tension with your pastor. Maybe you don't feel heard. Maybe you feel misunderstood. And that has caused you to bump heads with your leader, and it causes a little bit of friction in your relationship. In this video, we're going to talk about why you could be clashing with your pastor and how to fix it. Let's talk about it. Hey, my name is Birch. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm a worship leader and an independent artist. And for the last 20 years, I've been writing songs for my church and churches all over the place. And at the time of recording this video, my new song, Decided, is out on all streaming platforms. I encourage you to check it out. And this channel exists to encourage and equip you to lead with excellence, with character, with quality at your local church. If you're anything like me, you have served under a variety of different leaders, and you've experienced ups and downs in those relationships. Trust me, I've been there before. I've experienced those hard times, experienced those good times as well too. But more often than not, you will experience tough conversations, difficult seasons with a leader. And they happen for many different reasons. The first of which is I think you're building something different. You know, as a worship leader, you might be thinking about moments and sound and experience, and your pastor might be thinking about vision and leadership and practicality and pragmatism. Neither of those two things are wrong. They're just different. And as a worship leader, one of the best things you can do is to come into alignment with your pastor. You know, the platform that you stand on, that you lead worship on, is the platform that God is building through that person, through that leader. And the best thing you can do is to come into alignment, to share the same vision, to share the same heart, and find ways to do that. You know, if you don't recognize this early on, lots of frustration will build up over time. And there'll be moments where there's no need to have friction or division, but it'll set in if you don't address it early enough. The way you fix that is learn to see ministry through your pastor's eyes. It doesn't mean that you need to abandon what you think or your philosophies or what you hold dear, but learn to look at ministry, learn to look at your church, learn to look at Sunday morning through the lens of your pastor. You know, the second thing that could be happening is that you could be communicating more emotionally than clearly. Here's what I've learned is that pastors can't read minds, and they shouldn't need to figure out what you're trying to say. You should just say it. Be honest, be truthful, be upfront. Communicate clearly, honestly, often. Do it in such a way that they can understand exactly where you're at and you can understand exactly where they are. That'll help you a ton. If you're frustrated, talk about it. You know, that pastor is not just your leader, they're also your pastor. They're the person who cares for you, that's there for you in moments of struggle, that's going to help you take next steps in your journey with following Jesus. And they're also going to be the person that helps you see what you can't see. You know, the beautiful thing about having a pastor in your life, having a leader in your life, is that they can see from a perspective that you don't have. So that means they can see a little bit further down the road, or possibly just see it differently than you do. And if you can allow that leader in your life to know what's going on, how you're feeling, what you're walking through in a clear way, they can be a resource to you and not just a burden. And so the way you fix that is communicate so that you can collaborate, not just convince. If you're getting value out of this video, I encourage you to hit the like button and consider subscribing so you never miss a video just like this. The third thing, there's a chance that you can be confusing vision with preference. You know, not everything that you think about or every method that you want to implement is God's vision. Sometimes it's just the way that you want to do it. And that's okay, especially if your ideas are great. You know, just be really upfront and honest about, like, this is kind of my preference. But I think we can muddy the waters if we call everything a vision from God. There's times when it's just our preference, whether it's style or sound or implementation. This is just something that you prefer, and that's totally okay. Communicate that in an honest way, and be sure to leave space for your pastor to lead you in a different direction. The way you fix that, lay down your preference for the sake of God's purposes. Hey, I just wanted to pause the video for 1 second to let you know about the sponsor of this video, BerchmanPaulJr.com. If you're a worship leader, a local church pastor, or part of a worship team, this is the hub where I share resources that'll help you build healthy worship culture, grow your team, and lead with purpose. You'll find free, yes, free resources you can download and use right now with your team. You'll also find a little bit of info about the new music that I'm releasing, the songs that I've written, and the sermons that I've preached. Maybe you have a very specific need, like quality preaching on a Sunday morning, or worship leading at your next conference. Maybe you want to discuss growth and strategy and how to build a healthy team. I've created a booking page right here on the website. Fill that form out, and that'll start a conversation between you and I about how we can collaborate on building your church. So, after this video, take a second to check out birchmanpauljr.com. The link will be in the description. Now let's get back to the video. The fourth thing, possibly you stop seeing them as a person. You know, when you work with someone for such a long period of time and you have differences of opinions or you want to do things in different ways, you begin to see that person as just a set of ideas as opposed to a person who thinks and feels and reacts and responds. Begin to see them again as a person. You know, they're not just a person who's responsible for the budget or somebody who hires the staff or someone who leads the church or someone who preaches a sermon. They're a human being as well, too. They have feelings and emotions and desire and a will. They are a person just like you. And possibly you stop seeing them that way. There's a chance that you've moved into a place where you just criticize. You're frustrated with them, and so you stop praying for them. You stop trying to meet needs. You stop trying to be a friend in their life. And that causes you to see them no longer as really as a person, but as just someone who's in your way. Here's how I would fix that. Pray for them. Bring them a cup of coffee. Get to know their story. Get to know what's happening in their life and how you can come alongside that pastor. Hey, something I didn't say in the video that I felt like didn't need to be said, but I want to say it anyway, just so you know, this is on my heart. If you're in a place that's extremely unhealthy and it's not the right place for you, you need to prayerfully consider what your next step looks like. Maybe there's some leaders around you that know you well, that love you deeply, and that can help you pray through this decision. You know, whatever it looks like, maybe it's some spiritual abuse. Maybe there's some things that you've seen in their character that you can't continue in good faith and good conscience to stand by and say nothing. It might be the right next step for you to move on. If you've been in a place for a long time and you've been praying through this decision, trust me, I feel you. I know what it's like to be in one place and feel like it's your time to move on. And that the fact that you move on doesn't mean your story's over. It doesn't mean your ministry's over. It could quite possibly be the beginning of something incredible and brand new. And so the rest of this video is really about a heart check for you. But I didn't want to let it go unsaid that there are times where it is time to move on. But anyway, that's just that little caveat. Let's get back to the video. The fifth thing, and it's similar to the fourth, but just goes a little bit deeper, is you begin to make ministry about you. You know, some of us hold so tightly onto the things that we love. And when we hold on to things that we love so tightly, it's like a blade that's in our hand that when it's removed, when it's clenched, man, the impact is great. But when you start to live open-handedly, when that blade is removed from your hand, the impact is not as great. You know, sometimes we have owned so much when we need to learn how to steward. When we realize that what we do and what we carry and our responsibilities, they all belong to the Lord anyway. They're not ours. And there's a chance that you've made some of this about you more than it needs to be. Now, don't get me wrong. We are owners. We take responsibility. We accept high accountability. But we must remember that none of this is ours anyway. Here's how I would fix that. Remember your why. If you lose your why, you'll lose your way. You got into this to build the kingdom, not a brand, not a department, not a band. You got in this to expand the gospel's reach in your region or in your world. Remember that why, so you don't lose your way. Here's what you need to remember. Unity does not mean uniformity. It just means being together. It means you and I are going after the same things. We want the same goals. We may go about them a little bit differently, but our end desire is identical. I love what the Bible says in Psalm 133. Where there is unity, God will command a blessing. Could the next step of unity be the key that unlocks what God might do in your church, your team, your ministry, and in the relationship with your pastor? God bless you. I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks so much for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, leave a comment below about the next step you're going to take to build or strengthen their relationship with your pastor. And if you watch this long, that means you probably like the video, so drop a like. Consider subscribing so you don't miss videos just like this. And YouTube's recommending that you watch this video. Why don't you click on it? Let me know what you think.